The world does not reward the honest, the kind, or the fair. It rewards the cunning. Today, I will reveal to you the hidden trait, the secret Machiavelli himself whispered, that grants you an unfair edge in life. If you've ever wondered why lesser men rise while greater men fall, this is the answer. In this world, most men and women are raised with a comforting lie. They are told that life is fair, that justice always prevails, that goodness and honesty will one day be rewarded. They cling to this belief because it makes the suffering they endure more bearable. If life is fair, then all their pain must have meaning. If life is fair, then someday their loyalty, their kindness, their obedience to rules will elevate them. But what if I told you that this belief is the greatest illusion of all? That fairness is nothing more than a story whispered to the masses, while the powerful sit above them, writing the rules in their own favor. Watch closely. In the courts, the rich man wins not because he is right, but because he can afford the lawyers, the influence, the backroom deals. In business, promotions do not always go to the most skilled, but to the one who knows how to flatter, how to play politics, how to appear indispensable. Even in matters of love and friendship, you will see it. The honest man, open and pure, left behind, while the cunning and mysterious capture attention. The game is not fair, yet most people still insist on playing as if it were. Why is that? Because the illusion of fairness has power. It keeps order. It keeps the sheep docile while the wolves feast. A man who believes in fairness blames himself when he fails. He thinks, perhaps I wasn't good enough. Perhaps if I try harder, if I work longer, if I sacrifice more, I will succeed. Meanwhile, the cunning man understands that effort alone does not crown the victor. He bends the rules. He manipulates appearances. He seizes the opportunities that others are too blinded by morality to see. But here is where the illusion becomes even more dangerous. Fairness is not only preached by rulers and institutions. It is also enforced by society itself. The masses cling to fairness because it comforts them, and so they demand that everyone else play by the same illusion. Step outside of it, and you will be called ruthless, immoral, corrupt. But look deeper. Those who condemn you are often the ones quietly breaking the same rules when no one is watching. They condemn you publicly, but privately they admire the power you hold. Think of history's greatest rulers, conquerors, and leaders. Were they rewarded for playing fair? Did they rise because they followed every rule laid before them? Or did they rise because they understood that rules are chains, and chains are meant for others, not for themselves? Alexander did not wait his turn to rule. He seized destiny with fire and blood. Caesar did not beg the Senate for permission. He crossed the Rubicon and rewrote the fate of Rome. And closer to our own time, look at the tycoons, the moguls, the political leaders who seem untouchable. Their success is not the fruit of fairness. It is the fruit of boldness, cunning, and the willingness to play a game the rest of the world refuses to admit exists. Yet here is the bitter truth. The illusion of fairness will always survive because the masses need it. They crave the idea that justice will eventually reward them, even when their lives prove otherwise. This is what makes fairness such a powerful tool in the hands of those who see through it. You can wear the mask of fairness while exploiting the reality of power. You can speak of justice, morality, equality, while behind closed doors you calculate, maneuver, and ensure that outcomes bend toward your advantage. The masses will believe your words because they want to believe. They will even defend you, even when deep down they suspect the truth. So, when you look around and see that the good suffer while the cunning rise, do not be surprised. Understand that the illusion of fairness was never designed to reward you. It was designed to control you. Those who remain blind to this illusion will spend their lives waiting for a justice that never comes. They will sacrifice, they will obey, they will toil in the hope that one day their virtue will be noticed. But for the few who see through it, for those who dare to question, a door opens. They no longer waste energy expecting life to be fair. They no longer complain about injustice, for they know injustice is the natural order. Instead, they learn how to use the illusion as a weapon. If you strip away the myths, the poetry, and the sentimental tales that people cling to, you discover that greatness is rarely built on what men claim to value. It is not built on strength alone, for brute force without strategy is easily crushed by a sharper mind. It is not built on intelligence alone, for the clever man who cannot act decisively remains trapped in endless thought. Nor is it built on morality, for morality is too often a leash wrapped around the neck of the obedient. No, the true foundation of power lies in something subtler, something hidden in plain sight. It is the art of appearing one way while acting another. This is Machiavelli's secret trait: strategic cunning, the ability to cloak ruthless intent beneath the comforting veil of virtue. Think for a moment of the leaders who inspire loyalty, even devotion. Do their followers see the ruthless calculations behind their decisions? Do they see the compromises, the betrayals, the lies whispered in the dark? No, what they see is the mask of mercy, the mask of honesty, the mask of strength, the mask of faith. And they bow to the mask, never realizing that behind it stands a man willing to be merciless, dishonest, or faithless if the moment requires it. This is not hypocrisy, it is strategy. The world does not reward naked truth. It rewards the one who controls perception while shaping reality to his advantage. Imagine two men vying for power. The first is virtuous, honest to a fault, committed to fairness and transparency. He believes that integrity will elevate him. He tells the truth even when it weakens him. He honors his promises even when it costs him everything. He wins admiration perhaps, but admiration without power is hollow. The second man is cunning. He understands that truth is not always a weapon to wield but a burden to carry. He lies when necessary. He breaks promises when it benefits him. Yet he does so with the mask of virtue firmly in place. He appears loyal while he plots betrayal. He appears generous while he calculates the price of every gift. And because people believe in appearances, they trust him, support him, follow him. Which of these men will rise higher? Which will be remembered? This trait is not about cruelty for its own sake. It is about control. The cunning man does not reveal his true intentions to the world, because the world does not deserve to see them. He reveals only what will persuade, what will comfort, what will inspire. A ruler who shows only his ruthlessness is feared, but also hated. A ruler who shows only his kindness is loved, but often taken advantage of. The ruler who wears both faces, the gentle mask and the iron hand concealed behind it. He is the one who endures. Consider the image of the lion and the fox, one of Machiavelli's most enduring lessons. The lion represents strength, the ability to strike down enemies with raw force. But strength alone leaves you vulnerable to traps, to cunning you cannot see. The fox, on the other hand, represents cleverness, the ability to spot traps and avoid them, but the fox lacks the strength to fight off wolves. Alone, each creature is incomplete. Together, they form the perfect symbol of this hidden trait. Be both lion and fox, bold and cunning, fierce and deceptive. Strike when the time is right, but wear the mask of peace until your enemy's guard is lowered. And do not mistake this trait for mere deception. Deception without discipline collapses into chaos. Strategic cunning requires restraint, patience, and above all, control of appearances. The man who lies carelessly is soon exposed and his reputation destroyed. The man who calculates carefully, who crafts an image of virtue so strong that others defend it for him, can act freely behind that shield. This is why reputation, once secured, becomes more valuable than gold. It allows you to sin in private while being praised in public. It allows you to betray one man while gaining the trust of 10 others. And as long as the mask remains intact, the world will see you not as you are, but as you want to be seen. You will notice, too, that this trait is not confined to rulers and kings. It exists in every sphere of life. In business, the successful entrepreneur speaks of vision, passion, and integrity, while behind the curtain he cuts deals, eliminates competition, and leverages every weakness he can find. In politics, the smiling candidate promises hope and progress, while privately calculating which alliances will keep him in power. Even in relationships, the charming lover presents devotion and sincerity, while quietly keeping options open should something better arise. Strategic cunning lives wherever ambition meets resistance, and it always prevails over those who cling to pure honesty. The brilliance of this trait lies in its invisibility. Few will ever acknowledge that it exists, and fewer still will dare to practice it openly. Society teaches you that cunning is wicked, that deception is immoral, that masks are shameful. But this teaching itself is part of the illusion. If everyone believed cunning to be shameful, then only the few who practiced it would rise above the rest. Those few would enjoy the fruits of their hidden edge, while the many comfort themselves with stories of virtue. Power is never just about what you do. It is about what others believe you are doing. In every court, every battlefield, every boardroom, and every relationship, the true game is not fought with swords or contracts, but with perceptions. Men live by stories more than by facts, and those who can write the story shape the destiny of those who merely live within it. This is why perception is stronger than truth, and why mastering perception is the art that separates rulers from pawns. Look around you. The world is full of men who rely on their raw abilities alone, skills, intelligence, strength, or wealth. Yet they often stumble because they fail to control how they are seen. They assume that their actions speak for themselves, that merit alone will elevate them. But actions are meaningless if they are interpreted wrongly. A generous act can be twisted into a sign of weakness. A firm decision can be painted as cruelty. A small mistake can be magnified until it becomes a scandal. Truth lies helpless before the sharp tongue of perception. He who controls appearances controls reality itself. Imagine two leaders. One rules with competence, making wise decisions, caring for his people, protecting their future. But he does not concern himself with how he appears. He is plain, unpolished, careless with words. His enemies paint him as cold, out of touch, and the people begin to doubt him. Another leader is less capable, perhaps even corrupt, but he understands perception. He presents himself as warm, relatable, always speaking of justice and progress. His mask is polished to perfection. The people adore him, defend him, follow him blindly. Which leader do you think survives longer? Which leaves his mark on history? It is rarely the one who is most virtuous, but the one who controls how virtue is seen. Perception is a weapon more subtle than the sword and more enduring than gold. Armies can be defeated, fortunes lost, but reputation endures. Reputation is the armor that protects you when enemies strike, the light that blinds your rivals, the foundation on which loyalty is built. Once people believe you to be strong, merciful, or wise, they will bend reality to fit that belief. They will excuse your failures, justify your betrayals, and even defend your ruthlessness. But once perception turns against you, no truth can save you. You may act with honor, but if you are seen as dishonorable, you are finished. This is why rulers and ambitious men throughout history invested more in appearances than in facts. They staged grand ceremonies, built monuments, surrounded themselves with symbols of power. They understood that men do not see truth directly. They see what is presented to them. A ruler wrapped in the trappings of majesty appears more legitimate than one who rules quietly. A merchant who dresses richly is trusted more than one who appears poor, even if their fortunes are reversed. The mask, the costume, the spectacle, all of these are tools to control the narrative. And make no mistake, controlling perception does not mean abandoning truth entirely. A wise ruler uses fragments of truth as anchors, weaving them into the story he wants others to believe. Too many lies, and the illusion collapses. Too much truth, and the mask slips away. The art lies in balance, showing just enough reality to make the illusion believable, while concealing the ruthless machinery behind it. When done properly, your enemies will swear by your virtue even as you sharpen the knife behind their backs. Consider the fox again, the creature of cunning. The fox survives not through strength, but through the manipulation of appearances. It makes itself seem harmless, small, unworthy of notice, until the moment it strikes. The lion announces its power with a roar, but the fox lets perception do the roaring for him. In the same way, you must decide when to appear dangerous and when to appear harmless. When to seem generous and when to seem cruel. Always ask yourself, not what truth will serve me here, but what appearance will. Think also of enemies. Perception is not only a shield but a sword. The most effective way to destroy an enemy is not always through open conflict, but by poisoning how others see him. Cast doubt on his reputation, and he will crumble under the weight of suspicion. Spread whispers that make his virtues seem like vices, and the crowd will abandon him without you lifting a finger. Why risk your strength in battle when perception can win the war before the first strike? Every successful man understands this law, whether he admits it or not. The celebrity who builds an empire is not necessarily the most talented, but the most skilled at shaping how people see him. The politician who rises to power is not always the most capable, but the one who masters the art of appearing capable. Even in ordinary life, the individual who controls his image, how he dresses, speaks, behaves, often surpasses those who rely only on their raw merit. The world is a stage, and men judge not by reality, but by the performance. To master perception is to write your own script and assign roles to others without their knowing. It is to create a story so convincing that people willingly play the part you designed for them. And once they believe, they will defend that story against all challengers, even against the evidence of their own eyes. For men do not cling to truth. They cling to belief, and belief is forged by the one who controls appearances. There exists a hidden edge that separates those who rule from those who obey, those who rise from those who remain forgotten. It is not luck, though the weak often call it so. It is not divine blessing, though priests may claim otherwise. It is the deliberate use of power, masked by virtue, sharpened by cunning, and protected by perception. This is the unfair advantage, the weapon that elevates the few above the many, the trait that makes fortune bend its knee. You see it everywhere, though most refuse to acknowledge it. A man climbs the corporate ladder not because he is the most skilled, but because he understands how to appear indispensable, how to flatter the right egos, how to conceal ambition beneath loyalty. A politician secures power not because his policies are the wisest, but because he knows how to craft an image of strength, how to appeal to the emotions of the crowd while hiding his true intentions. Even in daily life, the individual who understands this edge commands respect, influence, and admiration, while those who cling to fairness and honesty watch opportunities slip away. The unfair advantage comes from embracing a truth most people fear to face, that appearances, perception, and cunning matter more than raw talent, morality, or effort. Men want to believe that the world rewards the virtuous, that hard work will always pay off, that justice is inevitable. But history tells another story. History remembers conquerors, rulers, and schemers who played the game differently. They used morality as a disguise, fairness as a weapon, truth as a tool, and perception as their shield. They never placed their faith in the rules written by others, because they understood that rules were designed to limit the ambitious. Instead, they wrote their own rules and made others follow them. Think of the ruler who promises peace to his neighbors, while secretly preparing his armies for war. When he strikes, his enemies are unprepared, deceived by his mask of goodwill. Think of the merchant who presents himself as honest and generous, earning the trust of his rivals, while behind the curtain he manipulates prices and controls supply until he dominates the market. Think of the friend who appears loyal, agreeable, harmless, until the moment comes when he positions himself above all others. These men achieve not because they are the strongest or the smartest, but because they dare to use the hidden edge while others cling to illusions. The unfair advantage is not about playing recklessly or without principle. On the contrary, it requires discipline, patience, and careful judgment. To wield it effectively, one must know when to act and when to wait, when to show strength and when to appear weak, when to reveal ambition and when to conceal it. Those who wield this edge understand that timing is everything. A rash move exposes your intent, but a calculated move made at the right moment changes the entire board. This trait also demands a mastery of masks. You cannot show the world your hunger, your ruthlessness, your ambition, for they will recoil in fear or rally against you. Instead, you must appear virtuous, merciful, and trustworthy, while beneath the surface you remain calculating, unyielding, and ready to strike. This is the paradox that confuses the masses. They see only the mask, and because they believe in it, they defend you, even as you bend events to your will. Their belief becomes your greatest weapon, for what is more powerful than having your enemies guard the very illusions you have created? And consider this, those who reject the unfair advantage often become victims of it. The honest man who insists on playing fair becomes prey for the cunning. The righteous leader who exposes his true intentions too openly is undermined by rivals who are more subtle. The hardworking laborer who believes effort alone will bring reward finds himself exploited by those who understand that perception matters more than sweat. To refuse this edge is to live in chains forged by others. To embrace it is to step into the ranks of those who command. This principle is as old as human ambition itself. Every empire was built upon it, every dynasty preserved by it, every throne defended through it. Power has never belonged to the most virtuous, but to the most cunning. And while history may condemn them in words, it never forgets them in memory. The names that echo through time are not the names of the men who followed rules, but of the men who rewrote them. The unfair advantage is not about cruelty for cruelty's sake. It is about recognizing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. It is about refusing to live as prey in a world where predators disguise themselves as saints. It is about seizing the hidden trait Machiavelli revealed, the art of appearing virtuous while acting strategically, of controlling appearances while shaping reality. Those who master this become untouchable. They are admired, trusted, even loved, while quietly bending the world to serve their ambition, and those who do not remain pawns, forever wondering why their honesty, their fairness, their hard work was never enough. And so you see, the world is not governed by fairness, nor by honesty, nor by the fragile ideals that most men cling to. It is ruled by those who dare to see through the illusion, who embrace Machiavelli's secret, who understand that perception outweighs truth, and that cunning cloaked in virtue creates an advantage no rival can match. The masses live in chains of morality and fairness, waiting for justice that never comes, but the few who master appearance, timing, and strategy rise above them. The hidden trait is not brute force, not raw intellect, not blind morality. It is the art of wearing the mask, the discipline of shaping perception, the courage to act when others hesitate. This is the unfair edge, the silent weapon that crowns rulers, shapes empires, and secures power while others remain blind. And as long as men believe in the illusion of fairness, those who wield this secret will always stand above those who do not.